जब हम अपना 100% देंगे तब तक हमारी कंपनी का टारगेट पूरा होगा। Yes, no? आई नजर आ रहा है। What does this mean?
So hello viewers, today the guest who have joined us has 30 years of experience in sales and marketing area, Mr. Rajeev Narang sir. He is a sales and marketing consultant and leading corporate trainer in India. And Mr. Rajeev Narang sir, thank you so much first of all for taking out your precious time to join us. Thank you.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much for inviting me here, and I'm glad that I'll be able to contribute something to you and your audience. That's awesome. Thank you.
So to begin with, sir, I would like to ask one very predominant question is you have 30 years of experience in sales and marketing and you have trained thousands of salesperson to get through in their corporate journey. So what are your advices for leadership? So what do you believe are the most important, habits which leads a leader to become successful?
All right. So let me just say one thing. I'm in my 35th year of my career profession.
Wow.
It's not 30, it's over 30 years, but I mean actually it is 35th year that I'm working in. So you asked two important things merged together. One is when we talk about sales trainers, that is where my expertise lies. I'm more of a sales and marketing person, and in the process, what has happened is that I have been able to create some very successful leaders in the game. So when you are asking about the habits, what should be the habits? I think the first big habit or skill or something which has to be made as a choice by somebody who wants to be successful is to take ownership. When I talk about taking ownership is, so if you really notice, you must have heard about four different words, and the words are duty, responsibility, accountability,
Right.
and ownership. So, we all believe that, so I'm paid this much of a salary. This is what I'm getting, the kind of remuneration I'm getting. And therefore, this is my duty to fulfill these responsibilities. So I'm responsible for this. I'm responsible for that. That is how the things have been defined. So, whereas a good leader will be one who will not only fulfill his duty, but will also take the responsibility of all that which is going to take the project to a successful destination, and also be accountable for that. That means anything goes right or wrong, specifically wrong, he will take responsibility of, that he will be answerable for that. But the most important part here is taking the ownership, which means even if that you don't have to, nobody's asking you a question, even if nobody's watching, even if nobody's, you're not answerable to anybody, but you're still doing your job better than what is expected of you. I think that is where the ownership lies. You take responsibility of the results and not only limit yourself to the responsibility which has been assigned. So that's the first big habit, skill, whatever you call it, but it is the choice of ownership which is most important. So, for example, you are here. You've taken the ownership to alter the world around you, transform the world around you through these podcasts, and you invite so many people onto your platform. That's the ownership that you've taken, right? And you don't compromise there. That is what will make you a great leader. That is what is going to bring in that kind of a difference. So that is one big habit. Second big habit is, I would say, is discipline. Discipline is very important. And when I say there are lots of things, included in that word called discipline, it is integrity, means जो आप कहो वो पूरा करो, और अगर नहीं कर पा रहे हो तो बताओ कब पूरा कर लोगे. Be answerable, be in the conversation of this, and that I think is the most important part. Discipline is not only about getting up early, sleeping early, and then doing some physical exercise, mental exercise, and everything. Discipline is about there to respect the standard operating procedures of the business, to ensure that everybody is allowed and given an opportunity to perform and to fulfill their requirements. That is where I think the discipline is. So it's about respecting others, taking the respect and respecting the responsibilities that have been given. So these are, I think, are the two primary ones I would say is important. Rest all is something which can be acquired, but these are the choices that one has to make.
Rajiv sir, you have explained very practical thing, that ownership, taking ownership, and actually commitment is very important. That once we commit that yeah, I will do this, it means I will have to do this come what may. So yeah, you are actually right. So Rajiv sir, moving towards the next question, which is actually similar to this, which is akin to this, that communication plays a massive role in leadership journey. So what are your advices, and what do you want to suggest people to incorporate tips to have a better or an enhancing communication?
So communication is a vast subject, Ronak. Can't be explained in, I mean, theory. The Google is full of all the theory part there. But I think one thing which you'll notice, which everybody will be talking about, is that one becomes the great communicator only when somebody is a good listener.
Hmm.
So once you listen well, you are able to respond well, not
Right.
react well, respond well. So when everybody says that, okay, you must have heard this many a times that people are here to react and not to respond, and that is where the problem lies. And that exactly is the point. If we listen well, if we really understand what somebody else is talking to us, we become more empathetic. We go in the space, in the shoes of the person who's talking to you, and then understand what is the message that he wants to deliver, and then accordingly react to it. So for to be a great communicator, I think it is very, very important to be a good listener. I would simply say it like this. Rest all, I'll be very honest, Ronak. So yeah, you should know your subject well. Yes, you should
Hmm.
be a good, you should practice public speaking. You should be able to do that. Choose the right words, the grammar and everything. I think the language is only a mean. It is not something which is the be all end all. आप मेरे से हिंदी में बात करें, आप मेरे से अंग्रेजी में बात करें, या उस भाषा में बात करें जिसमें हम एक दूसरे का मतलब समझ पाए. I think that is what is going to make the difference, and that is the strength of the
Right.
effective communication. Otherwise, so you've seen people who've not been very great communicators early in their ages, but then they become, because it's not only about how they speak well, it is also about how they listen well and how do they create conversations.
Rajiv
Yeah,
sir, you
over to
have
you.
explained a very practical thing, that if somebody wants to be a phenomenal speaker, then he must have a tight grip upon communication, and communication comes when we try to speak at least, and we have to do incremental number of practices. So what are your advices upon time management, that I mean, within that 1 minute I will have to deliver it, so how to manage time, right?
You are saying it from the perspective of public speaking and all
Public
that.
speak.
How do you manage time? How do you manage time with respect to speaking?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think uh, every communication, whether from stage or whether we are doing it right now, or from in job interviews or in your official presentations, everything is a time bound thing,
Right.
right? And when I talk about time bound things, so I'm sure our time right now is for 30 minutes. A TED talk is given 15 to 18 minutes. Most of the keynotes are around the same time, 15 to 20 minutes. Your presentations can be of 40 minutes, but at the same time, your workshops, your training workshops could be of half a day or
Right.
full day for that matter. What is important over here is to have the right structure in place. So to manage the time, the structure is very important. That how will you put your, divide your timelines into all the messages that you want to create. And to make that happen, to ensure that you got the right structure in place, what is important is to know who your target audience are. If
Right.
you don't know your audience, then you will not be able to, create that content which will fit into that structure. कितनी देर तो लग जाएगी सिर्फ उनसे आइस ब्रेक करने में, उनसे रैपो बनाने में, ताकि वो आपकी बात सुने, दे लुक अप टू यू. So to build up that structure which works in the time frame, it is important that we have we have the knowledge about the audience, that who they are, what is the kind of people that they are with, what is their perspective, what are their challenges. If you can plan this out, it will be great, because that will help us put the structure in place. And then within the structure, there's a little icebreaker there in the beginning. Then you have to talk about the objective of the presentation. What is that whole presentation or the talk is all about? Then come to the content, create a story. It is like a flight, you've seen a flight. Runs on the runway and then it takes off. Then it goes into the sky, then builds it up, and then comes down and lands. So it has to land at the right objective. What is the objective of your presentation? So that is what is important. So you know your customer, know your audience, and also then know your objective. What is the message, the actual big message that you want to create? So time is therefore divided accordingly, and each and every aspect of this structure of talking is important.
Actually, it is actually depend upon that what kind of the main theme, the actually central theme, what I exactly want to convey the audience, right?
Correct. Absolutely. It's the theme and the objective that you want to fulfill. What is it that you want to have the audience, feel after your presentation or after your talk? I'm sure everybody wants to, kind of inspire, touch, move, inspire
Right.
others, the audience in a way that they either want to replicate or they want to go out and do their own thing based on whatever they've learned from you. So that is what is required. That is what is the need, and that will help you create a time together.
And sir, you are a phenomenal TEDx speaker. So, I mean, I'd like to know your journey. I mean, how did this idea cross your mind to become a trainer or train thousands of people? Your journey must
So
be
I think again you all right, all right. So listen, I am an accidental TEDx speaker. I have been. It's not so. I did my TEDx speech when it was in the year 2014.
yeah.
Okay, and that was the time when TEDx was not so happening the way it is right now in public speaking domain and professional speaking domain. And it was by invitation. Right now you have to apply, but at that time it was by invitation, and they had given a particular theme, and we had to speak about it. I was not really completely aware also that how it would really go. It just happened. So for me, TEDx, I would not say I'm a phenomenal speaker there, but I think I did a fairly good job. I made use of the stage which was provided to me. Coming to the second part of the question, that about the training people, that's
Journey.
what you asked, right? That
Yeah.
that how is it that I've chosen to be this? Again, I would say I'm an accidental trainer. So I started up my life as the brand strategist. I'm a brand person. I'm a branding person. I'm a market person.
Market person.
I help organizations to build brands, the recognizable brands, visible brands. And that's exactly how I define myself, to say the least. That I'm a transformation consultant who
Right.
assists small and medium enterprises to become a professionally run organization from being a promoter driven company. I help them transform their products into visible brands and their sales teams into their brand ambassador. Simply because not everybody can afford a Shah Rukh Khan, or
Right.
for that matter, they can't even afford me. So therefore, it is important that we have a regular journey going. So while I was helping the people in brand management and brand building, I realized that the whatever communications we were trying to create around the brand, the real thing happening at the ground level was not really going the way we would like it to, where the sales teams were not really trained enough to take it forward. Because in small and medium enterprises, especially the small enterprises, the at that time, and I'm talking about years ago, people were not very open to the idea of training. They were simply saying कि तुम्हें जब रख लिया जॉब पे, तुम्हें प्रोडक्ट की नॉलेज दे दी है, जॉब बाकी तुम्हें मार्केट सिखाएगी। और मार्केट नहीं सिखाती है यार, मार्केट घुसा मार के वापस भेजती है।
Mm.
So that is how it happens, right? So that was the time when I chose, let me just go ahead and help these guys to work on how does it work. And I realized that while I was working with them, I at that time I recognized my inside strength of training, that it showed up for me. I was not sure that I would be able to do it, but then the kind of inputs I provided to the sales team, they got good results, and then they said, "Oh, you are one of the best trainers that we've met." And somehow it just continued, and last so many years, almost 15 years, I've been training people, specifically in the small scale industry, small enterprises, where people are not given any kind of training. That's where I come and play a role. So that is how it started. And now I run my own workshops by the name of
Right.
Get Up Arise. And that's exactly the book I've also written by the same name, called Get Up Arise. And so that it's a now continuous.
So, sir,
Yeah.
as you mentioned that in your, during that journey, and actually in the meanwhile, you have written a best-selling book called Get Up Arise. So, what is that book about? I mean, have you expressed the sales techniques or marketing techniques, or please explain about that specific book.
Yeah, so correct. So this is the book called Get Up Arise, right? And this actually is nothing else but it's an adaptation of my workshops that I do for salespeople, called Get Up Arise, Boost Your Sales Success. So it's a 1 day program I do from 9:30 in the morning till 6 in the evening. It's a full day program for select salespeople. I don't take more than 50 people in a group, so that I can have one-to-one interaction. We can do a lot of engagement activities. We do a lot of mock calls, practice
Right.
sessions. Everything is a part. It's a workshop. It's not a training session, I would say. It's a workshop where we all participate and learn. And I do it. So when COVID happened, that stopped, because it is not an online workshop. It's a physical workshop. So the workshop stopped, and that is when I realized that means there will be so many months or years, we were not very sure how much time it would take us to come back from the pandemic. So that was the time when I converted my workshop into the workbook. So this workbook is basically an exactly chapter by chapter, session by session, module by module adaptation of the workshop. So it talks about what is sales to, what are the challenges in sales and how to really work on the lead generation, and how to find out whether your lead is a warm lead or a hot lead, and how to go ahead and then make your first call for appointment, to your target audience, the prospects for that matter, how to keep prospecting, then how to go ahead and make a presentation, then what are the kind of challenges that they will face in the
Right.
market, and how to handle those objections and challenges, and then how to prepare for those presentations, then how to fulfill those, how to close, and then how to administer, and then how to build relationships, because sales is a lot of sales is about building relationships
Right.
and then nurturing them, and so much so that your prospects, the journey becomes from a prospect to a lead to a sales, closed sales, and then from there to a referral business. So that is the
Business.
kind of relationship which has to go, and I take them through each one of that, and that is what the book is all about. It's hardcore sales techniques, specifically in the B2B domain, where people have to meet, in a business to business space, when they have to meet their audience. How does it work? That is what it is.
Right. And Rajeev Narang sir, I believe that your book is full of very practical insight, because you have extracted practical tips from your workshop. So it is everything you would have mentioned must be very practical and with the best ROI. So I would recommend viewers to check out that book, and I will mention that link in the description. So you must once buy it and just have a glance over it. So Narang sir, moving towards our next very incredible question, which is, what would be your advice for students who want to become trainers in their life?
Hmm. So I'm yet to connect with somebody, some student who wants to become a trainer. I'll be very honest.
Right.
People want to say they want to start with their job, they want to get into sales, they want to get into marketing, and of course the other. I'm talking about the areas that I work with. I am on the corporate advisory board of one of the MBA institutes in Greater Noida, and I realized that so people who want to be a trainer, I think it's a long journey. First, they have to build in a lot of
Experience.
learning which has to
Yeah.
take place. Learning through experience, of course.
Mm.
They have to go through that. They have to get into the real time and real in-depth knowledge of their subject, so that they are
Right.
seen as somebody who's an expert. But through that journey, what they can do is, one, they have to read a lot about their subject. They also have to read about other trainers who inspire people. They also have to keep writing or doing some kind of podcasts, write-ups, articles about their subject slowly and steadily, so that people see them and create a community where people see
Right.
them as somebody who's adding value, right? And it's not about becoming an influencer. It is about getting ready for being a trainer or a coach or a mentor, right? So,
Right.
and there are lots of skills, and there are lots of train the trainer programs also. That there are a lot of certifications which are available for training trainers.
Mhm.
They can all be a part of it. But while that is happening in whatever subject that they want to be, to be known as a trainer, they should work in that domain in the real world, just not from a bookish point of view or something which is available on Google. So they'll have
Right.
to go deep dive into the subject, understand, because as a trainer, what becomes very important is not only how you have to, give not share knowledge, you also have to share experiences.
Experience.
When,
Right.
when, when as a trainer, you give examples from your own life or somebody else's lives. It is not only about giving quotation quotes of people, established people, that is what somebody said. How this is how what Kotler says. Yeah, those are important. But once you start talking about your own experiences, so this is, and then they come out as very strong and believable and very credible stories for people to learn and get inspired by. So therefore, it is important to go through that experience. As I said, I'm an accidental trainer. I am not
Right.
by choice. It happened because I was in that business of doing it. So
Mm.
when I have, and whatever solutions I was providing to my clients or their teams is through training, but because I got those experiences, and it's more of my experiences that I share in the workshops and otherwise, is the more than the theory. I mean, if you, I don't know whether you would like to know that or not, but I'm not a certified trainer. I've not taken any certificate on as a trainer. Nothing. So I would say that's why I call myself as an accidental trainer.
Right.
So as a trainer, somebody has to read, get the knowledge, experience that in the real world, and then keep practicing to write through articles and blogs and podcasts and videos, and create a channel, keep talking, create a community, and then say, oh, now I'm geared up. This is a time for me to not charge you for training
Right.
you, and that's how the charging part and the professional part can come.
Your journey is quite unconventional, but at the same time, very inspiring as well, and you are humble actually a lot, because you have trained thousands of salesperson in the journey of 5 years, and you are saying that you are not a certified trainer. I would say you are over certified trainer. You have trained and
No, no, I'm
transformed.
not. I'm not.
You have
And
trans
as I said, I've been training not for 35 years, for only for 15 years, because it just happened to me though I could train. So that is how it happened.
Right. Narang sir,
Yeah.
moving towards our next very, influential, actually, the question, which is how to manage conflict management, that how to deal with, conflict in the team. Right. What are your insights upon this?
I'm not an authority in this, but I've managed many conflicts. I think I would say it like this. So as I say, I can't tell you this is the root, but I think uh, being empathetic to the situation, being
Mm,
empathetic to understand the situation in depth and see it from everybody's perspective is something which really helps. A lot of listening is required. I mean, I don't know why this question is making me smile, because just yesterday I was somewhere in the evening and I was managing a conflict, and I think I managed it well. So I'm just smiling because it just happened to me yesterday. And trust me, I was meeting those people for the fourth time in last 3 months. So I was not even very sure of their spaces, but then I
mm,
learned about their spaces. I understood about their situation, and of course, the silver hair helps because you are more experienced.
right.
You find out from various aspects of your life, and you bring in some experience there. It helps. But yes, I think it's very important to understand, take a neutral approach. It is very important to be a good listener. Very important to be empathetic, and it is very important for you to create that trust that people, when you're trying to manage a conflict. So all the stakeholders in that conflict land up in a situation where they trust you as an
Mm,
arbitrator, somebody who would come in between and try and solve it. But
right.
creating the culture of mutual trust and mutual respect, I think, is very, very. I would say it like this. I can't really be very authoritatively say on how to manage. I can't really talk about the theory aspect of that. I'm sorry, Raman.
So you have expressed a very practical thing, because this is what you have seen, and actually what you have observed from your, the kind of work you do, all of that stuff. So Rajiv sir, I have seen your YouTube videos, and you have, very nice community there, and you have made very, incredible videos. So on stress management as well. So what are your advices for the people who are going through stress? Like, what are your
Oh, that is my
yeah,
that is my favorite subject. Let me be
subject?
honest. So most of my people, when I saw, let me say it like this. So by profession, I'm a sales and marketing person. But I think it is very important for us to have another side of ourselves, which makes us happy, and
Mm,
also which makes us help to contribute something to the world outside of us. So I think it was in the year 2010 when I got introduced to the concept of laughter yoga. Okay.
right.
So this concept of laughter yoga is, so if you are a morning walker, or even if you have not, you must have heard and noticed about those Buddhas who laugh loud in the parks in the morning during the morning walk. So they're all doing laughter yoga actually. And and I was a part of that actually. Though I was not the Buddha part there, but
Yeah,
I was a part of there. I was a
right.
part of that, and I got, and this is what I talked about in my TED talk also, by the way. I
Mm,
did. It's
you
a
did.
part of my TEDx. It was because the theme of that TEDx was the changing over of your the changing over the game, the times that changed your, I mean, their life.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I think that was the theme, and that is where I actually mentioned that laughter yoga, introduction to laughter yoga, changed my life, because that gave me an opportunity to bring out all the laughter inside of, which was inside of me, to spread it across to the world.
Right.
And when I realized the benefit of laughter yoga myself, how I remained a positive person, though I've been told many a times that since very beginning, I mean, I can say from the very young days of mine, I've been a positive person. I'm not a quitter. But at the same time, I think I've not been a very extrovertedly very happy kind of a person. But laughter yoga actually allowed me to make me learn how to laugh. So
Mm,
whereas the message is very simple, that you don't need to have a reason to laugh. आपके
mm,
सिर में दर्द होता है, आप सिर दर्द की गोली खाते हो,
right.
आपके पेट में दर्द होता है, आप पेट दर्द की दवाई खाते हो, तो आपका मूड खराब होता है तो गुस्सा क्यों करते हो, हंस दो यार, उससे
Right.
ठीक हो जाएगा, right? So that is the message which I got. And
Mm,
after that, I had chosen to do a lot of laughter yoga sessions for schools, teachers, for students, for corporate houses, for in hospitals, NGOs, and where not. And I'm using it. I would say that is what makes me the possibility of creativity and contribution that I believe I am.
right.
That I'm giving back to the society. I'm giving them a reason to smile. And I think that is something which is most important aspect, because we have
Mm,
chosen not to be happy. Whereas I am only requesting everyone to choose to be happiness,
Right.
because that is something which makes us really makes us stress free, really makes us gives us that power in our hands, not only to feel ourselves happy but also make our surrounding happy. क्योंकि notice करोगे, मैं हंसूंगा अभी ना, आप हंसोगे, और अगर आपके साइड में कोई बैठा है तो आपको हंसता हुआ देख के वो हंसेंगे, और अगर उनके साथ भी कोई बैठा है तो वो हंसेंगे. इट्स लाइक इट इज वेरी, इट स्प्रेड्स लाइक क्रेजी लाइक अ वाइल्ड फायर. और
Right.
हम तो वी ऑलवेज जस्ट से दिस, अगर if I laugh and then you laugh and then looking at us somebody else laughs and looking all of us, the next person laughs, imagine the spread it is going to happen, to take place, and then that spread is going to create happiness in a big way, and that is something which I believe is important. I do a lot of happiness at workplace workshops. I do a lot of those workshops for corporates now. That is something which I have also added to my kitty of services that I offer. So I take those stress management workshops with them. So laughter yoga is a combination of breathing exercises, a lot of aerobic exercises, and a lot of laughter added to it. So we create situations where we can laugh and together, and then have some good time for 1.5 hours and take it forward. So that's what it is.
So Rajiv sir, I request you to send me all those links of that workshop, whatever you conduct around it, so that I can add
Sure.
those links in the description, and the viewers will make the most of it. So
Sure.
thank you, Rajiv sir, for taking out your precious time to be on the show, and it's my pleasure
Thank you
to
so much.
hosting you and to learn from you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ronak, and thank you once again for inviting me. I really appreciate your effort that you're making to bring in the transformation in the world around you. Thank you so much. Have a
Thank you.
good day.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. Bye bye.